Okay, I have to apologize. I have been talking for the last couple of minutes and you guys didn't hear me because I had the mic turned off. Can you hear me now? If you're able to hear me, first I want to say hi to Miss Susie, who was on before we even got started. I want to say hi to Carmen and hi to Shakis. Can you guys hear me? I may have to change back to my headset. Okay, Carmen, you can hear me, great. I just got a new lavalier mic, so mostly because I want to be able to eventually show my face on screen again. But I want to be able to do that easier, and my headphones, that doesn't really work for this. Anyway, first I want to apologize for not being on here yesterday like normal, and I do want to say thank you so much for dropping in tonight. My plan right now is just to kind of go over a couple little things, play in my planner a little bit, and I am planning on making a new divider in there. It's one I saw online. I saw it on a video. I don't know who made it, but I thought it was really cool. I think it was a couple years old of a video actually, but it's one that has I already have a couple of them that have got top tabs, but it is clear and it has a pocket, meaning you can put stuff in it, and I thought that that would be just too cool. To start off with, I don't know if you guys already know. If you've been watching my channel, you probably do, but I've joined another design team. And I have another video and blog post coming up tomorrow, and I wanted to give you guys a little preview. So this is the one that I made last week. It's not a weekly thing, but it's like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off with Dies R Us, and this is the first one that I made that I just thought was so stinking cute. But it's a mini slimline and fits in a regular standard envelope. This is last week, so I've got that video up, and then the one that is going up tomorrow is this one. In case you haven't noticed, I'm trying out some of my my dies that I've had sitting around that I haven't used for interactive cards, and this one is one of the shutter cards. So I just think it turned out pretty cute, and this is the first one that I've made. Anyway, I've got that video coming up tomorrow, so I would love for you guys to drop in and see that, and drop on over to the blog as well. I've got it on my blog, got it on their blog, and I'd love to see, some comments and such show up for those. Hello, Miss TR. Hello, Miss Elizabeth. I did see you earlier, Elizabeth. I just started talking and then didn't say anything, so I mentioned you, so I do apologize. But thank you guys again for dropping in. I also did another project for a design team project. This was on Saturday, and you may have seen these little guys. I played with Shrinky Dinks. I have not, let's see if I can get it focused well enough. There we go. I have not played with these, so I made little Shrinky Dink planner charms, and then I thought that my video was not going to be that long. Instead, it turned out to be too long, and I couldn't really make myself delete any of the hilariousness of me doing my first attempt. But I went ahead and made a traveler's notebook to go along with it. I figured this is a planner video, so that would be a good time to do that. So I made, of course, the cover. You guys have seen me do that before, and then 4 little individual notebooks to go inside it using the pattern paper from Tailor Made Cards for Use. It was the Miss Darcy kit. And I just fell in love with the key. It was just, the key is what caught my eye. I just thought that was so cool. So anyway, that is kind of sort of what is going on. Like I said, on Friday, my husband and I went out to Lou Gardens in, excuse me, Lou Gardens in Orlando to look at a bunch of prehistoric type of plants. He's really into those right now. He's one of those people that I think we're both a little bit OCD because we get involved with something and then we kind of go overboard. So anyway, we did that, and then on the way home, our car broke down. Turns out that a part on my husband's van rusted out. So there was no fixing it on the road, and it actually got chilly. We are in Florida, and it wasn't too bad. It was kind of in the 60s, but we're both wearing shorts. And I think I stayed out in the cold a little bit too long, and I'm still not 100%. I know I mentioned to you guys before that I wound up with some kind of breathing issues a couple of years back. Not 100% yet. I still get out of breath. Part of that's probably because I gained too much weight while I was trying to recover and let my body heal. And there's still the cough that I have every once in a while. We still don't know what's causing that. Anywho, I've basically been on the couch for 3 days. So yesterday I was able to do a little bit, but there were things I had to get caught up on. For instance, getting that that video edited and the blog posts done for that second design team project, because it's due tomorrow. Actually, it's due midnight, so it's up and ready to go. And just to give you a little bit of an idea, I've watched a lot of videos on content planning and that sort of thing, and one of the things that somebody had was basically a wall calendar, so I've already started one of those. This is actually the second month on there. I've got all of my live streams written in. I've got the things that I know that I have planned already written in, even if I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. So that's one part of it, and then I decided to start kind of categorizing what kind of videos those are. Another thing I did want to show you guys were some things that I've got available over in my shop, because I've talked to you about them before. One of them is my new, here's that shaker pocket we made before. My new April inserts. So those are over there. This one is actually a free download for you. I think I've got it up as a free download through the 15th. It's either through the 15th or through this Saturday. So if you guys are interested in it, have at it. You're welcome to it. I've also made up some that are undated, so you can always replace any of the ones that you messed up on, because if you're like me and you use your planner, when I use it, I mess up something and I have to kind of rewrite it, and that's not fun. Another thing I like to do is have a new wallpaper each month. So I've got that up on my computer. So I've got actually there ones for your phone and for your computer. So I've got the dated with the month on there, and then I've got one that's without that. So you could use it for all springtime. You don't have to use it just for the month. And then I've got the same things for the excuse me. It's got the same things for your phone or tablet, and I've got them on my phone and tablet too. So that's basically all the extra junk that I wanted to chat with you about, just to let you know. I don't do a lot of promoting of that stuff. I'm not 100% comfortable doing it yet. We'll get there. What I did want to do is I also made up these little guys, and a lot of you guys are big on social media, so these are little stickers to tell me that I actually did something. So for instance, for the month of March, which you can see I didn't do any kind of plan the last couple of months, I got all these little stickers on here basically letting me know when did I actually get this post done. Right now I am very far behind on my WordPress blog posts, mostly because I got thrown with the whole magic mat thing. I had a couple of extra videos go up. I just got too busy with TR, how'd you know? Yes, blue is my favorite color. Used to be just kind of like a navy, and I've kind of switched over to kind of teal, because I've got two blue tealish color planners actually. And you see my watch band. My mother-in-law gave me this at Christmas. This is her old one. We've been using Garmin's for years. This is the first one I've got that's a regular watch and a Garmin, which I love my Garmin. But she also sent me a bunch of her watch bands. And it's like, oh my God, I think I've got like 8 watch bands. And the only ones that I've used are the white one that she did when she first gave it to me, and this one. I've just kind of switched to that, and my nails match. Anywho, these are just a bunch of little stickers to show me what I have done and what I haven't done. And this is the first month that I've actually been using them. And I can tell I did the blog post for the shaker dashboard. I did the one for the Arteza swatching video. Lucky day for tailor-made cards for you. I always get the tailor-made cards for you ones done. I have not done a video yet on the action wobbler that we did as a live stream several weeks ago. I have not done it for that cute little girl bunny that we colored a couple of weeks back. I've got to get caught up. So I am really working on trying to get myself, now that I've added so much extra stuff, I am trying to get myself more organized so I can actually get it all done. So for the project, yes, TR just mentioned that she made some of the little action wobblers. I do remember seeing that in the group. TR is also a member of my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and she had just started up her new Facebook channel, her new YouTube channel, and it's got a couple of videos up, so I'm so excited about that. And I just realized I did not heat up my laminator yet. That's kind of an important thing if we're gonna do anything with that, you know? Let me pull that out. I cleaned most of the stuff up off of my desk, so that was a plus, but I did not get the laminator turned on. It usually only takes a couple of minutes to heat up, so that's not bad. So while I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'd love to hear from you guys what you've been up to, what kind of fun, crafty things you've been doing, and what you'd really like to see from me. I mean, you already know that I am willing to try pretty much any kind of crafty thing. And I've gotten a little more comfortable with showing you all of my mess ups as they happen. I'm sorry about that. I'm blocking the sun. Just like last week, we have let me get that straight again. Just like last week, we've got the sun coming in over the trees and going and hitting me straight in the eyes. So I need to get that taken care of. But at least now I've got a good way to do it. I don't know why I didn't think of that before last week. So on my Crenova Laminator, I figure I'll go ahead and show you guys a little bit on this. I've had this one about a year, and it blinks until it's ready. Now that's just meaning that you can go ahead and do something with it. Doesn't mean that it's hot. I have noticed that depending on what the foil is that I use with it, I've got a couple of foils that just will not work, and it's probably that I don't let this thing get quite hot enough. It only takes a couple of minutes though to heat up. Another thing maybe that I had a problem with my printer where it, for whatever reason, decided to print at 300 DPI instead of 600 DPI, meaning not enough toner got down. So that might have been what caused the problem with a couple of things I tried to foil last week. Anyway, it's got a switch over here where it says it'll do hot or cold. I have not researched to figure out what the cold laminating on one of these is for, because I always use it hot. So I'm just going to leave that to the side and let that heat up. I do have, I did do an unboxing video a year ago when I got the thing, so if you guys are interested and want to see more about this specific laminator, I did a bunch of different tests and stuff with it. You're welcome to see that. And this is some laminating pouches. You can get them on Amazon. I also got, I think I got these actually from Lamination Depot. Anyway, so what we're going to do is similar, very similar to what we did to do the little, the shaker pouch one. First, I need a page out of my planner, so I've got the right size. And I'll just take out this dashboard I made a long time ago. And then, like I said, it's going to have a pocket. And then I realized that I had some of these, I've got some pieces of scrapbook paper that I had to the side that I thought were cool that I think are too big for me to use for a card because I don't make cards this big. This one is, I think it's 5 by 7. No, this one's actually 6 by 8. I don't make anything that big, but it is about the right size to go inside a dashboard if it has a pocket. So I thought that would be kind of cool. So TR is wanting, she has been working on her YouTube stuff, which is awesome. I am so proud of you. And she'd like to see scan and cut stuff. I don't have a Cricut, so I can't show Cricut stuff, although I have thought about reviewing other folks' Cricut designs and seeing how to duplicate them in a scan and cut. So that's kind of on my long to-do list, you know, project to-do lists, because I've been wanting to do a series on that for quite a while. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm also wanting to do, that's one other thing I wanted to do today. I'm also wanting to do kind of an, actually I had this idea because one of my friends in the group, I've known her for, I don't know, 10, 20 years. But she had a question about, you know, she's taking part of the swap with a new swap. She is a new card maker, and she doesn't know, you know, how do you make the envelopes for big chunky cards? That is a very, very, very good question. So what I thought I'd do is maybe do an Ask Debbie kind of series or feature or something on my blog and over maybe just in the group. I haven't decided exactly where to do that one, but you guys ask me questions and I will either answer them, show you how to do it, or figure out where to find the information. I have no problem doing that with you guys. So for for the dashboard that we're wanting to do, I want it to be approximately this size. So I need to make sure that I've got a sheet that is that big, which is great. We also need to make sure that we're going to be doing it basically the same way we did the last one. And that, of course, is I think I'm talking too fast. I do apologize, guys. I'm starting to cough and stuff again. I don't like doing that. I want to be normal again. Oh, wait a minute, I'm a crafter. How can I actually be normal, right? Okay. So let me get a couple of other things to cut with and see what I can do. So, can't go that way. It's going to need to go this way. Also need to have room for a little tab at the top. And I think what I'm going to do for this one, because this is actually my first attempt at this, okay? What she showed that you can do is use washi tape, use a sticker, something like that to be your tab at the top so you know exactly what it is. I don't really know what all tabs I want to add to my planner. I'm kind of in the process of trying to discover a more efficient way to do things. So that's going to be a combination of digital, you know, computer or phone or tablet, whatever, and my planner, because planner, it's more tangible. We are people, because we are crafters, we like to touch things and we basically want to do things with our hands, and it works a lot better when we can see it all. So what I need to do is first I need to decide on the size that I want the inside pocket to be, and then cut that. And I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to just line it up with one of the grid marks on my mat. And you see that we need at least a ½ inch. I'm going to make sure I have more than that. So I'm going to say about 3/4 on that side. And if I give that side 3/4 and I give this side 3/4, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. And this piece I think is 9. So that means I would need to cut about 3 inches off on this side. And because it's so wide, I'm gonna do it anyway. I wasn't gonna get up. I'm gonna go cut this on my 12 by 12 paper trimmer. And it looks like I must have hit the camera a little bit because it messed up just a touch. There, that's better. So I will be right back. Okay, so sorry about that. Ooh, Elizabeth's gonna make some shaker dividers. Awesome. Okay, so this is gonna give us about 3/4 of an inch on either or both sides. And then want to make sure I give it about at least 1/4 inch, probably a 1/2 inch at the bottom too, just to be on the safe side. And I can make sure it's going to be really snug on this. So it'll be this piece that I have here that I want to put in there that's so pretty is going to actually have to be trimmed just a touch, but that's still okay. So this piece here is the paper part anyway, is right around 9.5. Now before I go further, because this one is actually the inside cover, it's not one of the other dividers, so I should have grabbed one of those instead. So I'm going to want this piece to be no more than 9 inches. Yeah, I'm going to make it 8.5, I think. And since this doesn't measure out to 8.5, this thing starts off at 11.5. So I need to cut. I'm going to cut 2 inches off to be on the safe side because I can always trim it further. And I don't want to cut the part that's already sealed because there's no point in having to seal that part. That part we know is already good. Go ahead and cut this down to 2. And this is still big enough to use for like a bookmark. So I don't throw any of that stuff away. Okay, so you can see it is still a little bit big, so I need to cut off another inch. Yeah, I'm going to cut another inch off. Okay, so that should be good there. Okay, so that's going to work good. So now I'm going to want to do like we did before when we made our shakers. And turns out that I did need to trim off that other end. I am such an idiot. Because what we have to do with this one is we have to flip it inside out so that it'll stick to this piece, not to each other. That's what forms the pocket. So let me just trim that little tiny bit off. Okay, now I can open it and flip it. So when you're wanting to make any kind of a pocket, whether it is a shaker pocket or whatever, you want matte side out, shiny side in. And then I'm going to put this, let's see. For this one, I'm going to put it about, I think a 1/2 inch should do it. Okay, so I am putting that, I think I just changed my mind. I think I'm going to do 3/4 instead of, a 1/2 inch should do it. I'm going to put that about a 1/2 inch down. So I'm basically lining this up on my glass mat, trying to get these to stay together, and they're not. And then sliding it down to about a 1/2 inch. And I want to make sure I've got plenty of space on the outsides. Yes, I know I've got some gunk there, so I need to, don't know what it is, but I need to clean that out because I don't really want extra stuff. It's still there. Okay. then, because I want something to be showing up here on the inside, well, I'm going to have a tab at the top, like I was saying before. I'm going to have a tab at the top. So I want to have something on there. Now I can either just cut it clear and add a sticker to it, like the dividers I've already got in there. I've got those basically bookmark ones that say in month and today. But I want to do something a little bit different instead, and I grabbed out my washi tape. So I'm going to use one of my I was actually thinking about doing these, again, TR blue. I was thinking about doing one of the envelopes, and I still may do that later, but I forgot that I had this, and I've actually got two of the pineapples with the blue. I think that would be really pretty. So again, I'm going to open this back up. I'm going to leave that there to kind of try to hold it in place. And I'm not really that concerned with how this winds up turning out in the end with the, you know, I don't care. I do care, but I don't care. I'm not as concerned about having too much as I do having not enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to line it up with a little above there and just add some washi tape on there. Now this is only going to add the design on one side. The other side is not going to be looking as nice. And I think I am actually going to trim that down a little bit more. The easiest way to trim down washi tape and get a straight line is just an old credit card, or like this one is a hotel credit card, a hotel room card. That usually just tears off pretty much straight. Now that I've got this washi out, and you saw I've got a humongous collection. I don't actually use it much. I haven't bought any new washi in like 2 years. Hello, Miss Beth. Welcome. Okay, so now I'm going to shut that. And then I'm going to go ahead and run it through my laminator because it has now had plenty of time to heat up. And this is my first attempt on this, guys, so I hope it doesn't mess up. Okay, so it's coming out the other end and looks good so far. Okay, so I think you guys can kind of see that there is now there's basically a bubble in the middle of this piece of laminate, right?
6 o'clock.
So what I'm going to do is actually, yeah, that's still going to be pretty good. If I leave this all the way down to the bottom, let me get back so you can see it. If I have it lined up on the bottom, that little strip goes just over the top of my divider, my side tab dividers. So I probably should have put the washi a little bit higher, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna go get the big mama, my big swing line paper trimmer. That way you can actually see what I'm doing for the cutting. And I'm taking off the mic so I can go over there. Okay, so here is my big swing line. And I already know that it is about the right size for lengthwise. So I'm going to just trim a little bit above that, but not go into that little bit of a bubble gap. And one of the downsides on this trimmer is sometimes it doesn't want to cut through plastics, or if it's something that's just not thick enough. It likes to have more than one sheet of paper. I had some trouble getting the regular laminate, sorry, the regular pouch to cut on it. So next I'm going to, I already said I wanted to have about an inch on the side that's going to be punched. So I'll go ahead and trim that one. And I can tell where that inch is going to be because of this, I can see the pocket through here. So I'll line the pocket up at right around an inch. Okay, think you guys saw that. I need to grab a piece of paper. I know I have some scraps over here somewhere. Because it is not wanting to cut through the plastic like it's supposed to. So let me try it again with some paper on top. Only trouble is now I can't see the line. Okay, it's going to be right about there. And this end I can tell is right about there, so that should be about right. And of course it didn't cut. That is nice. At least it gave me a score line so I can cut on it. Okay. Okay, so now we've got that part. However, I'm now seeing that this is too close. If I cut it right to that edge, and that's what I would need to do since this is a top tab one, I'm going to cut into that bubble gap, and I don't want to do that. So now I need to trim a bit more off. And I have no idea if it's going to do what I'm telling it to do or not. So that's an inch. So let me cut this down to about 8. That time it cut through okay, but I think I didn't leave quite enough. I left barely enough room for the punches. But since this isn't going to be a shaker pocket, that's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, so now I need to trim it to this other line. And the easiest way to do that is to line up the edges with the insert. It shows it's right at 7 inches, so that's good. And that one cut fine too. Okay. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my corner chomper to round those corners because I don't want to poke myself. I think I mentioned to you guys last time when I did this that they don't always cut all the way through, but that's okay. It cuts through enough so that I can just take my scissors and trim it off. And this one is mostly catching on the washi. And by now you're probably asking me, well, I thought you said we're going to have a pocket. This one doesn't have a pocket. This one just has a clear space that looks like a pocket, but there's no way to put anything in it, right? Now, if this had been a side tab, all you need to do would be, of course, to cut the top, and you'd be fine. This one, though, is going to be a top tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of our craft knives and a ruler, and we're going to trim it down. Now this one, again, I want to make sure. Okay, so this one I'm going to be punching on this side, and actually that might make it easier to cut too. Not going to do that. I was thinking maybe I should go ahead and cut first, and then I thought I had second thoughts and thought, you know, that might not be as good of an idea as I was thinking. I also want to see how this is going to work with my little insert here. And since it gave that little bit extra of a gap there, that's going to give me more room. What I need to do now is I have to cut into this bubble gap. Okay, make sure that you guys can see it. Doesn't look like you can, but that little tiny gap, it looks kind of like a little ridge here. That's between the inside plastic and the outside plastic, and I need to cut into that. I'm not going to do it on the front. This is the front side of my washi, so I need to turn it over, and I'll line up my ruler so I can kind of sort of see that gap. And then I'm going to slowly cut into that. And I am not good at this part. I'm probably going to need to go through down a couple of times. I don't want to use so much pressure that goes through both layers, but I need it to go through this first layer. Okay. And I went through both layers. Okay. You got the idea though. Now this one I did go through both layers, meaning I need to do it again, but this is what it would look like if I had done it right. And I think I mentioned that this one is a little bit snug on it, so I really needed to do. So you can basically change out your inserts anytime you want. I'm gonna go ahead and do a second one because I messed up on the first one. And I think this time I'm gonna also fold the washi in half and see if I can do washi on both sides. That would be nicer. So I'm going to, well, I still have my paper, my trimmer here. I was gonna say I'll go cut my paper down. Let's try this again. You guys at least know that I'm real. I really messed up on that one. Okay, so for the inside, needs to be less than 7 because this piece is 7 inches from edge to edge. Need to take a 1/2 inch at least off on one side. I'm going to say a 1/2 inch off on the other side, so it needs to be about 6 inches. So cut a piece that is 6 inches. Actually, I'm going to make it, because of the rounded corners, I'm going to make this one actually 6 1/4 and then trim down the other side. Surprised that decided to cut for me. And I'm going to make it 6 1/8 just to give it a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. So if I didn't already say hello to you, Beth, hello and welcome. And I see that you've just gotten a new laminator. So what have you used it for so far? Okay, so we're going to, as we did before, this is the extra piece that's going to become our pocket. So I am going to go shiny to shiny. And I'm going to put it in here. Give it about a 1/2 inch. And since I know that I need about a 1/2 inch on this on one side anyway, I'm going to just go ahead and put it in place. So it's now got about 3/4, and that should be enough, I believe. Let's just double check it. And again, it's not going to give me enough on that side, so I really need to have it less. So let me go ahead and move it over just a little. Right at a 1/2 inch. That looks crooked to me. I think this is why I don't do a whole lot of stuff when it comes to making things for planners anymore. It's because I'm too much of a perfectionist. Card making is a little more forgiving. Okay. So I'm going to put this over here just to hold it in place. Double checking. I also did not trim that part either. That's something I forgot. Okay, so we want the pocket to be about the height. So I need to cut off about I think a 1/4 inch should be enough to cut off of that. And that'll probably give me better placement also for the washi. Okay, shiny to shiny. Putting it inside the other laminating sheet. And giving it about a 1/2 inch border. Actually giving it a 1/2 inch border on the bottom and on the side over here. That just basically means I won't have to cut as much. And I'm going to hold this one back while I put the washi tape down. Yeah, that's about the right amount. So I'm going to do the same thing that I do with my foam tape when I'm doubling it up. I'm just at the fold. I'm folding it back on itself and then just going to work my way down. Try to keep it lined up. I'm already off. I have to say this is not as easy to work with as foam tape is. Probably because foam tape is just so thick, you've got a little more to play with to get it lined up. Come on. Actually, this is going to work better. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I want it to be basically laid across the top, and then it's going to have that pretty pineapple design on both sides. So I think it's right between those two little pineapples. Let's see how that does. Yes, I know I am. TR says I'm a perfectionist. I know that I am. I think I'm slightly OCD, but the way me and my husband say it is that I'm slightly CDO, because that way it's spelled correctly. And we both are. That's probably one reason why he's so into plants and such. I mean, it's unbelievable the way that he does things. I mean, when I first met him, he had he basically wanted me to help him brew beer. And because of how he did it, and how well he did it, for the very first one that I was helping him with, I had no idea he had been basically brewing beer for 2 weeks. He's an engineer, he's brilliant. And he just, when he starts to study up on something, he learns everything about it. I mean, I mess with him and say that he's making up words when he's telling me the names of all of these plants that he's interested in. It's not just palms. There's something called a cycad, and I have no idea what that exactly means, other than it's one of those plants that's been around since prehistoric times, and just, you know, things like that. He's insane. Yes, Beth, we want it exactly the way we want it. But that's in a way, it's a good thing, because that means we improve. But the bad part is we get anxiety and stress. And to be honest, I think that might have been just one part of my whole issue with the breathing issues that I told you guys that I had. It's very possible that there was part of it. You know, part of it was just that I caught the flu or something, which I don't know if I've ever actually had, but I caught a cold. I got another sinus infection. I just didn't seem to improve. I had my doctor, gave me antibiotics that didn't seem to work. Weeks later, I go back and get him to finally get me over to a pulmonologist, and then we test everything. But when I went to the pulmonologist, one thing that happened that was kind of weird is that while I'm in the doctor's office, they have you do an ambulatory, is what they call it, an ambulatory walking test. They basically want you to walk for a few minutes. So while I'm walking, my blood oxygen level dropped drastically, enough so that she sent me to the ER. So that tells me that it wasn't just, it wasn't just stress. It wasn't just a cold. It was something else going on. So I'm not 100% sure where this needs to be cut, but I do know that the top needs to be cut above my little pineapples. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that part off. And I'd say that that is good enough. Which, Beth, is another thing that is hard for us to say, that it's good enough. And then this side, I need it to be, so that is 9. So I'm going to trim, only going to trim 1/8 of an inch off if this paper trimmer will let me do it. So we've got 9, I'll move it over just a hair basically. So it's easier to trim a little more off than it is to, okay. Let's see, now I have pineapples on both sides, awesome. Okay, this looks like it's going to give me enough room. That looks like it's pretty much perfect. So now this should be 7 inches, yes. Well, here's the thing. If you have it open at the top, so it can slide in that way, the tab isn't as sturdy. That is what I've heard anyway. So instead we're going to have it open on the side, but that also means I can't cut through both layers of plastic at the same time. Okay, go ahead and... I don't think that is completely straight. Okay, so I need to trim just a little bit off this end, I think. So I've still got a big margin on this side to work with, so I'm going to trim it down to 10, I think. It just means that I have the pocket in there a little bit crooked. And then this part can be trimmed down to 7. And it'll give me just a little bit on the, that'll give me a little bit on the outside of that bubble gap. And it is again not wanting to cut. You saw that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I have no idea why this thing does the way it does at times. It's probably user error. Okay, so that one should be fine. Okay, so this is the side that's going to be punched, and I need to cut into the bubble gap but not cut all the way through the darn thing, so I need to be a bit more gentle than I was last time, and I thought I was doing fine. So I'm going to line this up with the edge of that inner laminate. And I'm being very gentle this time. It doesn't really feel like I'm cutting much. Okay. Did cut through a little over here, so that's good. Now I'm going to go back. And I have to say, using a craft knife for cutting is probably one of my least favorite things with crafting, because just like trying to draw a straight line, I can't cut a straight line to save my life. Okay, and that is not cutting through nearly enough. So I'm going to try putting the blade just in that groove there to try to keep it in the same spot, and then line my ruler up. Does anybody else have the same problem? Okay, one more time. Like May says, light cuts, multiple passes. If I do too many passes, I'm going to cut all the way through. Okay, it's still not cutting all the way through. That is good. Okay. Try this one more time. Okay, that felt like it went through more. So it did cut through up here. I knew I felt some. Okay, and now that we're mostly through this video, this live stream, I have another question for you guys. The mic that I'm using today, is it better or worse or about the same as what I've used in my other videos? Because I just got it this past weekend, so I could send it back if it's not actually helpful, or if it sounds like I am garbled or anything like that. I have no idea why this is not cutting. Oh my goodness. Because it feels like it's cutting. Okay, that one feels like it went. But again, it is not going through. Okay, I am too frustrated on it. Okay, looks like I may be actually able to cut a somewhat straight line with this. Does that tell you I need to practice with using a craft knife? Okay, there we go. So now we have a pocket. Can't believe it took me that long to do it. So now I'm going to take it out of the first one and see how that works with here, because I think this pocket is actually a little bit bigger than the other one was. Yes, it is. And then my punch. And you're probably not supposed to use laminating through these punches, but I do it anyway. And I'm going to stand up to make sure I put enough pressure. And that is perfect. The part that's not perfect, of course, is that cut. It kind of looks, in my opinion, a little bit crappy. But for my first top tab divider, that's not too bad. And what you could actually do is actually make it as a tab. One thought that I've had that I didn't do yet is, oh, awesome, I'm so glad that it's sounding good. I'm going to go back and listen to part of this and see how it works with my my new little mic. Because you guys saw it, it's teeny. And it just clips on. And this thing has got one of the longest cords that I think I've ever seen. I have no idea why it's that long. But at least this way, I should be able to maybe do some videos where you actually see what I look like. That is, of course, if I have my hair done at that time, you know? So what I'm thinking of doing with something like this is actually making, once I know what I'm going to be using it for, I'm looking into a couple of different planning systems. But having, for different sections in your planner, let's say craft projects, you could have a sticker that says craft projects and then kind of fussy cut around it, or like with a shadow around it, and that would be basically a top tab so you would know exactly where it is. So let's say I want to put it in here in my this week. Oh, well, this is, let me take out the today one. So now I can see it peeking over the top, and it takes me straight to the page that I want to go to. And I have to say that looks a lot better than this. These have worked well for, I've had them in here for a couple of years. I've gone back and forth whether or not I'm using them, but they have worked pretty well. Plus you can use it for putting, you know, post-it notes or stickers or whatever on there. But I like this because I can leave it clear if I want to, or I can do like I did here and put a page in there. And here is something else that one of the systems I'm looking at is the getting things done method, and if I can figure out how to make it work for me, then I'm going to be using that in my planner too, and it slides perfectly in there. So if I ever have, it's a great reference. Now I've got a little reference page in there and I can switch them out whenever I want to. I like the way this one turned out better than I did this one. That one's going in the trash. Actually, I'll probably use the plastic for making shakers or something. Okay, Carmen, that's what I would expect. When I would when I'm wearing the headset, I basically have to take the whole darn thing off my head to be able to walk away, like I had to do a couple of times. And of course, if you're away from the mic, you're not going to be able to hear it. But right now, I don't have to even think about whether or not I have the thing on. It seems to be working fine. The thing is, I used to be a phone rep before I stopped working because I got sick, and I always had my headset on, so it's kind of, I have it on pretty much all the time that I'm sitting here in front of my computer. Okay, so that's kind of the project that we did today. I know I was a little bit all over the place. I hope you guys don't mind. Several of you guys have said something about that I'm real, and I have been showing more of my struggle process of how I do things than I've done in videos, I'd say the last 3 years that I've been doing these. So I just started doing that. Oh, TR, that is a very, very good question. TR just asked about the amount of pressure that I put on this glass mat. You are correct. It was quite a bit of pressure. Let me show you my mat. I love this thing, which is one reason why I haven't switched back to any other mats. I think I've got like 2 or 3 different self-healing mats, but this is my favorite mat. On the underside, you have these little rubber bumpers, which that's the only thing about this thing that I don't like, is the fact that the bumpers come off and then you have to try to glue them back on, and then they come, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But this thing cleans up super, super, super easy. As long as you've got those bumpers in there, adding that pressure isn't really going to hurt it much. It's also tempered glass. So this is like what your stovetop is made out of, and you pile pots and pans on that. Speaking of which, do not put a hot lid on top of a tempered glass stovetop, because even though tempered glass is very strong, it could possibly break. My mother-in-law told me and showed a picture of it, of a friend of hers who had done that on her stove. She basically took the pot lid, put it on the stove, and it shattered it. Now, it wasn't just a cooktop like what I've got, it was an actual stovetop. And I don't know how old it was or anything, if there is something else going on, because I didn't think that that could happen. Anyway, this is tempered glass, so it should hold up very, very well. I've had mine a year and a half. I think I've had it about a year and a half. And I've also got the little tools. I'm looking for it. The little tools to help clean it up. And the easiest way to clean that up, and I know I've got some around here somewhere, is basically sanitizer. I use alcohol on it, I use sanitizer on it. Both of them work great to clean it up. I've got my little spray bottle of alcohol that I keep on my desk all the time, because you guys have seen me make a humongous mess on here. And since I've been staying home, I am basically sitting at my desk all the time. And you can probably see, let me take this down. There's a little speck of gold right here, and that is from one of those, I mentioned to you guys a few weeks back, well, a month ago, that I picked up from Dollar Tree, some of those, whatchamacallits, the rub-ons. It was basically a real pretty glitter rub-on, and I tried that in my planner because I was, like I said, I was wanting to try it out, and turned out it wasn't exactly a rub-on. You didn't have to actually rub it on. It said you're supposed to rub it on. Basically, you just touch it down to anything, take it off the release paper, touch it down to anything, and it sticks. So I had gold everywhere, but the alcohol took it off without a problem. So yes, I love my glass mat. I tend to love all my crafty tools. There's only a few things that I've tried that I really didn't like that much. One was the Arteza foam tape, and that's just because I didn't like that the plastic backing. Right now I've got scrapbook.com's foam tape, and I didn't realize, I guess when I got it, I didn't realize it was 1/4 inch instead of 1/2 inch, and I'm so used to 1/2 inch. Well, you have a wonderful night, Miss Beth. Thank you so much for dropping in, honey. And Elizabeth, you're right. I've got the We Are Memory Keepers glass mat too. I got that when I got my fuse tool, and then I haven't used my fuse tool much. You guys saw the last time that I used my fuse tool. And that mat is sitting over in a drawer, but it's this big compared to this big. Just one reason why I like this one. It's nice and big. Whenever I'm doing my videos, I basically frame the mat in the camera so that I use up all of the space, and I know that I'm centered and I'm in screen. When I was trying to use one of the other ones before I figured out that little trick, I was always out of screen. And now I'm also starting to come in closer, so as long as I stay in this little area here when I'm filming, I'm usually okay. Anyhow, I know that we went over, I kind of shared a bunch of different things with you guys. I'm not real good at the shameless plugs. I will have to be honest with you about that. I need to learn to do that a little bit better. I've had freebies and such on my blog for, I guess I started blogging in 2017. So I've had stuff on there. I've got stickers, I've got planner stuff. I've moved things in and off of it. I've got a VIP group on there so that you can get access to all the freebies. And then I haven't really worked with a lot of the stuff over there because I've been focusing on YouTube, and YouTube has been going great. But I do want to start doing some more things on that other avenue on my blog. So what I would really appreciate from you guys, if you get a chance, just go over and take a look. You'll see the different blog posts I have on there. A lot of the things I have on there, I'm starting to go into more depth with the different projects that I'm doing so that you can see more. For instance, the Dies R Us projects, one from last week and the one from tomorrow, those have got in-depth step-by-step as to what I did. Oh wow, Elizabeth, you have a huge one, huh? Awesome. Anyway, you guys, you have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna stop talking because I'm coughing way too much. If you want to see how I did those little guys, that video is up since last Saturday. They are just so darn cute, and the video is just hilarious. I didn't do the video I was planning on doing on making the Traveler's Notebook 2 because the video wound up being too long for me to add anything else in, and I thought it was too hilarious, all the mess-ups that I was having when I was trying to play with the shrinky dinks. Anyhow, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much again for dropping by, and I will talk to you later. Have a great one.